live video, and as promised I am back with the next nakshatra, which is the fifth nakshatra of the Vedic zodiac, and the name of this nakshatra is Mrigashira, or the head of a deer or antelope. Okay, it's quite windy today, so let's hope I get this video done before a storm breaks. So please join this broadcast and let us explore the archetypes inherent in the fifth nakshatra called Mrigashira. Okay. Now this, as I said, is the fifth nakshatra. Okay, and five is quite a diabolical number, by the way. Wow, it's really crazy. And the seed mantra is Om Aim. Om Aim. I said Aim is the Yoni beach. So Om, the Pranava, and Aim. Okay. So if you are a Mrigashira native, then chanting Om Aim will be very, very powerful. Devata is the moon. Okay. Soma, or the moon, is the Devata. This is known as the searching star. Thank you. Today is the day of Mars, by the way. It is red, the color, and the nakshatra that I'm talking about also deals with Martian energy. So let us waste no time and delve right into it. So Mrigashira is known as the searching star. Okay, searching star. So there is inherently within these natives the energy of seeking, the energy of searching, the energy of spirituality. It's a very, very spiritual nakshatra, Mrigashira. Okay. Now, some call it the nakshatra of Soma. Okay, Soma the moon, Soma the elixir of life as well. Okay. So when the Ksharasagara was churned, what came out of it, the elixir of life, was Soma. Okay. Now, literal meaning, as I said, is the antelope's head or the deer's head. And it's also known as the benevolent, because Mrigashira energies are extremely benefic or benevolent. Okay. Now, it occupies the upper region of the constellation Orion. Okay, we've heard of Orion's belt, right? Orion, right? And the span is from 2320 of sidereal Taurus to 640 sidereal Gemini. Okay, this is the span of this nakshatra. So this nakshatra spans between two signs, which is late Taurus, sidereal of course, and early Gemini, right? Now, Mars governs this nakshatra. So I said today is the day of Mars, because today is Tuesday, and Martian energy is about force, the application of correct force to cause something, to create something. Okay. Now we see that the deity is Chandra, the moon, as I already explained, and the beach mantra of Mars is Om Krang Kring Krong Sa Mangalaya Namaha. Om Krang Kring Krong Sa Mangalaya Namaha is the beach mantra of Mars or Mangal. He's also known by different names like Bhoma, Angarak, and stuff like that. Okay, so this is Martian energy, and the ruler is Soma, or the moon. Cha Chandrama se Namaha. Okay, and now many astrologers, ancient astrologers, believed that this particular nakshatra has the energy of Rahu. Okay, Rahu is the north node. The symbol is the deer. I told you Mrigashira literally means the deer's head. So the symbol is deer. Okay. Parts of the face, I told you that the nyasa process is touching the parts of the body that pertain to that particular nakshatra. Okay. So we have eyes, eyebrows, face, chin, cheeks, larynx, the palate, throat, vocal cords, arms, shoulders, thymus gland, upper ribs, eyes and eyebrows, which are already mentioned. Okay, Mrigashira natives tend to have very beautiful eyebrows. Okay, now every time I think of beautiful eyebrows, I am immediately reminded of Brooke Shields in The Blue Lagoon, which was this love of two prepubescent youths, and it was like pretty crazy and had thick, bushy eyebrows. They were sort of iconic of that era, I remember. Really thick and bushy eyebrows. I don't know if Brooke Shields has anything particular in Mrigashira, but Mrigashira natives have beautiful eyebrows. There's something about their eyebrows that really stand out. Okay, now, as I said, that the governor of this nakshatra is Mars or Mangal, and this nakshatra is the initiator of Martian energy or Mangal energy, active force, okay, action, right? Now, Nakshatra Padas, I've already explained that each nakshatra is broken up into 4 padas. Okay, sorry for that. The sound, I am so sorry. Okay, I do this every day and then I forget. And I always think that I have to turn the sound off, I have to turn the sound off. So sorry. So the padas are Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. Okay, so this nakshatra is broken it up into 4 padas. Okay, we have the Leo Navamsa, which is a very fixed, very authoritative, side of this particular nakshatra. Then we have the Virgo, which is a very discerning kind of energy, very discerning, very intellectual, can be a bit acrid or harsh, the Virgo Navamsa people. And then you have the Libra Navamsa people. They're very, they love fine things, they're very good with conversation, very good hosts, the Libra Navamsa people. All right, and also problem solvers and mediators. Okay, now we go to the Scorpio Navamsa, which is again completely Martian. So imagine having your Mars conjunct your moon in Pada 4 of Mrigashira. Okay, so that would be quite diabolic because you have that intermingling of the Martian as well as the lunar energy. And I already said that ancients believe that this nakshatra behaves like Rahu. Rahu is subversive. Rahu is what you're attracted to, what your soul pulls you towards, okay? Something you need to master in this incarnation. Remember that. So, exaltation, we've got to break down the exaltation. No planet is exalted in the Leo Navamsa. Of course, Mercury is exalted in the Virgo Navamsa, right? And we have Saturn exalted in Libra Navamsa, and we've got that Ketu exalted in that Scorpio Navamsa, okay? Now coming to debilitation. So again, Leo has no planets that are debilitated. Virgo, we have Venus. So having your Venus in Pada 2, Virgo Navamsa can be tricky because it is a problematic Venus because there's a Mars governed situation, a nakshatra, and then you have that lunar energy. Now the thing with Vedic astrology is that there are friendships and enmity and neutrality between planets. So, for instance, Venus considers the moon to be her enemy, but the moon doesn't consider Venus to be her enemy, but considers Venus to be neutral. So there are these finer psychological intricacies when you break down the friendships or enmity of a particular planet. Okay, so now we have the debilitation of Venus in the Virgo Navamsa, Sun, of course, in the Libra Navamsa, and the moon herself in the Scorpio Navamsa, because moon is in fall in Scorpio. So this becomes a very enchanting energy, though I must say the Scorpio Navamsa natives, very enchanting individuals. Now the motivation of this nakshatra is moksha. So it's a very spiritual energy, okay? It is looking for the ultimate liberation from the shackles of materialism, although Mrigashira can be very materialistic as well. Dosha is Pitta, is fire, Mangal. It's initiator of Mangal's energy. So you immediately realize that the dosha is Pitta. So bile, acidity, dyspepsia, and all of these kinds of things. Any pitta imbalance can occur. Okay, now the gana is Deva Gana. Okay, now Deva Gana, as I said, the ganas are Manusha, Rakshas, Deva. So, in the sense that these people are concerned with spirituality, the Deva Gana people, the Devgon in Bengali we say, okay. Now, the orientation is Tiryanga Mukha, okay, Tiryanga Mukha, which means level headed. So, the nakshatra looks level, straight at you. I said Rohini nakshatra is upward looking, it looks up. So there's always that optimism, that looking up, that positive energy. But this nakshatra looks level at you, straight at you. So there's a something like equality here, okay? Equality. Mars actually loves equality, and we see that when we get to the Scorpio Navamsa, and we realize this Tiryanga Mukha, it's looking directly at you. Wow, I'm so glad you guys are chanting all these mantras. Makes me so happy. I mean, after all, believe me, it is the only thing that helped me. Okay, mantra, yantra, tantra, which I talk to you about all the time. So let's break down this look straight and level. So it believes in equality. Somewhere Mrigashira natives believe in equality, and isn't that beautiful? Quality is mridu or tender. So the Mrigashira native is very tender, is of tender disposition. So the way they behave with people, the way they behave with things. Oftentimes we see harsh, for Bharani is ugra. So we see a Bharani native will, chuck something or keep something harshly. But we see that Mrigashira natives tend to be the exact opposite. And we also discussed how Rohini is Mishra. Okay, Misra. So a dualistic, they can be soft when needed, hard when needed. But the Mrigashira is tender. The way they interact with the world, they have a very tender touch. The way they keep things, the way they, even if they put the phone on the table, they'll keep it gently. There's a gentle streak to Mrigashira, okay, and that is so amazing in this harsh world. Although we know that this is the initiator of Martian energy, yet the temperament of this nakshatra is Mridu. This gives us some inclination of how Mars is actually indeed a very, very spiritual energy. Okay, oftentimes in 3D, in the lower realms, we think Mars is war, bloodshed, soldiers, the war machinery, the military junta. But there's just so much more to the energy of Mars. Once you think about the initiator of Martian energy is Mridu or tender. Okay, caste is Shudra. So these people have to work. Okay, literally work hard. Okay. Guna is tamas, so they're tamasic. They can be an inertness in their energy, inertia. Tamas is inertia. Okay, I explained the gunas again: sattvic, rajas, tamasic. So there is a sort of an inertia, tamasic nature to Mrigashira. Again, the correct application of Martian force will balance this. Okay, will balance this part, right? The Shakti is Prinana Shakti, Prinana Shakti, Prinana Shakti, Prinana Shakti, which is the power to give fulfillment and joy. So again, we see some of the significations of Mars having this tender temperament, the star that gives us fulfillment, I mean the asterism, the nakshatra that gives us fulfillment, that gives us the Shakti of this asterism is to give us fulfillment, to give us joy, okay, unadulterated joy. The animal totem or animal yoni is a female cobra, okay. Activity is passive, so they're always going to be more passive in the way they interact with the world, passive, okay. Now the element is Prithvi Tattva or earth element, okay. Now the directionality is south. Although Soma is the lord of northeast, also known as Ishan Kona, okay. Now the sounds are Ve, Vo, ka, and ki. Okay, ve, vo, ka, and ki. Okay, color is silver gray. Now, the root word from which Mrigashira comes is Mriga. Mriga, to seek, to investigate, to pursue, to inquire. So you see how, it's always about searching for something. The deer is restless. The deer is movable. It's always going in different directions and seeking new experiences, right? The principal asterism, a bit of astronomy now, is Beta Tauri, Lambda Orionis, which is Mesa, Lambda Orionis, and Bellatrix, Gamma Orionis. Okay, now many consider Mrigashira to be the head of Brahma Prajapati, who also has the form of a deer or an antelope. So Mrigashira is the head of the creator, head of Brahma Prajapati, right? Now, if you have a map of Beta Tauri, Lambda Orionis, and Gamma Orionis, then draw a line directly north, okay, directly north from the three stars in the belt of Orion, and you reach the star Calpella, okay? And this is so crazy. Calpella is known as Alpha Auriga, Alpha Auriga. So you take the belt of Orionis and you go straight north, correct north, and you reach the star Alpha Auriga. Okay, the star called Brahmaridaya, or the heart of Brahma Prajapati, the creator. The Surya Siddhanta, which happens to be a very ancient Indian astronomical text, calls this to be the main spiritual power point, the main spiritual power point in the Vedic zodiac. Okay, the Surya Siddhanta. Now the thing with Mrigashira natives is they're always seeking, searching, and they're seeking for beauty, of some kind of beauty in everything, They're very strong, they have very strong, adroit bodies, okay? Moderate complexion, so kind of olive wheatish complexion, squint eyes. This is also another thing, like I told you, that the Mrigashira natives have beautiful eyebrows, something very distinctive about their eyebrows. Also, the look in their eyes is a bit squint, it's a little squint, okay? If you notice it, very intimately. Now, very sincere, and they expect sincerity from others, okay? They expect sincerity. Very, very good grasping power, conceptual understanding, contextual understanding, very good at grasping things, right? They also tend to have good education, very good education, especially that Virgo Navams, and especially that Gemini part of Mrigashira, okay? Gemini part of Mrigashira, they tend to be very good in studies, some of them, if there's, of course, no other affliction, right? Now, moon here, if this is Mrigashira, is your moon nakshatra, it makes you very restless, very nervous, okay? You're constantly looking for something, looking for someone, something. It's difficult to ground yourself, especially moving to that Gemini part of Mrigashira, okay? Very caring, very motherly. The Taurus part especially. We have Devi Parvati, who is born in Mrigashira, who has a rising in Mrigashira in the Taurus part. So very caring, very motherly, very gentle, very tender, very peaceful, very sensual, very romantic. They, hopelessly romantic, the Mrigashiras. They love travel. I don't know, it's difficult to say. We all do love and care in our own ways, so it's difficult to say that. They love travel. and they are very good with written skills. They're very good writers, Mrigashira natives, okay? Good researchers, good with strategies, strategists, good with understanding a situation and then coming up with a strategy to solve the problem. Good strategists for sure, okay? Good investigators. They can get to the point, especially go to that Scorpio Navamsa, and bam, and a well placed Mars, and there you have it. Okay, collectors of things that interest them. Very good in speech, so very good speakers, very good communicators because they have that good grasp of vocabulary, good grasp of knowledge. uh, Good with words, Mrigashira natives are just very good with words. Rabindranath Tagore had something in Mrigashira, moon or ascendant, I am completely forgetting. So his words enthralled the whole world. So that is the energy of Mrigashira, enthralling one with their beauty and with their words. However, Mrigashira natives tend to have many difficulties in life, okay? And financial difficulties oftentimes pursue them. Also, they tend to have difficulties with personal lives, okay? Relationships, problems. Relationships can be very tricky with Mrigashira natives. Go to that Gemini part, even more so. Even the Taurus part, it can be very complicated, okay? Now, Soma, as I said, is the Jews, the sacrifice or the moon god. Okay? And the natives are almost like Soma himself, cool, moist, auspicious, okay? Resembling the moon. So there's a placidity, placid, okay? They're not extremely aggressive eyes, or they're not going to make aggressive eyes at you or behave aggressively in any way. Very mridu. So they have that placid countenance, okay? Very gentle, mild manner in which they will interact with you. They're almost like a pearl or the moonshine. They love pearls, by the way, and wearing pearls can also prove lucky from Mrigashira natives. Now Soma desired, may I win the lordship of all the plants, okay, of all the plants. So one who propitiates Soma and Mrigashira gains lordship of the plants and lordship of his peers, right? Plants and peers, right? Health problems can happen. Health problems, in fact, can be recurring and incessant. Vocal cord issues, okay? Sore throat, chronic sore throat, consumption or TB, venereal diseases, sciatica. Sciatica pain is maddening and it can happen to Mrigashira natives, okay? The shadow side of Mrigashira, indulgence, very sensorious, strong materialism, hardcore materialistic needs, okay? Craves new sensation all the time. So there's no concentration, there's no grounding. Fickle nature, especially in that Gemini part of Mrigashira. Okay. Now, significations of Mars seeps into in this nakshatra, and some of them are army. So the Mrigashira native may join the army. In fact, okay, they may be a part of the army in some capacity, and they rise quite high up in the army because I said they're strategists. Siblings are important to the Mrigashira natives, but they have problems non-stop with their siblings. There's always a complication, but they tend to have many siblings. Even Tagore, he had many siblings, okay? Land is important. Property, house, surgery, husband. The Mrigashira woman will often find that a husband plays an important role in her life in some way. Truth, land and fort. So they could literally be positioned in a fort in some kind of, isolation place as well. Diseases, wounds, ulcers, okay? It also deals with valor, the Martian valor, the courage, fighting equipments and arsenal, arms and ammunition. okay? So they can be arms traders. As I said, they could be a part of the military junta in some way, okay, or the war machinery in some way, Mrigashira natives. Um, Dignity, they're very dignified individuals, and they love higher knowledge. Higher knowledge is something that they seek, right? Brothers. They may love their brothers some in some place in their heart, but they always have conflicts with their brothers. Okay, their brothers create conflicts for them in some way or the other. Bile, take care of dyspepsia, bile, take yashtima to if need be to balance that pitta or activated charcoal powder. Very strong hands, okay? Body can be a bit hotter than usual, initiator of Martian energy, so that Agni Tattva in the body. However, this is Prithvi Tattva, this nakshatra is Prithvi Tattva. But it is the initiator of Martian energy. So there's a heat component in their bodies. They can get excessively hot and they need ACs or cold climates, okay? Very strong hands. They love nature. They love nature, okay? Uh, Also, imprisonment is something that Mrigashira natives have to deal with. Incarceration, not all, but this is something they understand. Okay, they know imprisonment, punishment. That's why it's always good to keep your karma balanced. Okay, because the motivation of this nakshatra is moksha, right? So ultimately, if you're not headed towards that zone, you are going to, be punished in some. I think. Oh my God. Oh my God. I think that is a worst part of something. I'm not sure. Oh my God. I think it is a bee. And oh my God. No, I don't think so. It's just a beetle. I almost slipped out over it. So embarrassing. No. So there's something about imprisonment. And punishment that they have to deal with. Also, Mrigashira natives have tons of followers on social media. They're very good, with their followers, and their followers just love them and dote on them, okay? Poisonous creatures, beware of poisonous creatures. Any kind of animal work, they're pretty good at. You often see these videos of guys who tame animals like lions or tigers. Mrigashira. Okay. Now, Mars is associated to Narasimha. Narasimha is the man lion and is amongst the Dashavatars of Vishnu. Okay. Right. So Narasimha's nature is divine wrath. Okay, but he's extremely benign. Now we know the story of Prahlada. Prahlada was a great bhakta of Vishnu, and he was born in a family of asuras who were extremely egotistical, and they were not happy when Prahlad was chanting, saying, chanting all shlokas and hymns to Lord Vishnu, and he kept doing it, and he kept doing. His father got angry. Hiranyakashipa, and Hiranya something. Okay, I'm forgetting. His dad, who was a demon king, so he got really upset. He was saying Namo Narayana, Namo Narayana, and his father would Hiranyakashipa would be like, "Are you crazy? Stop saying Namo Narayana. Stop calling Narayana. I'm the greatest. I'm everything." And Prahlad would then, not listen to his dad. He was a prince. He was a demon prince. He would keep chanting Namo Narayana, Namo Narayana, Namo Narayana. So one day as his father was about to strike him, and he punished him many, many times. And one day as his father was about to strike him dead, he called upon Vishnu with so much fervor that Vishnu emanated from a pillar in the form of a man lion, okay, half lion, half man, and he destroyed the demon king Hiranyakashipa, okay, and he ripped out his heart and he ate his heart. So the nature of Narasimha is divine wrath, right? Very good for protection, Narasimha Kavach, right? So this is the story of Prahlad, and this is the avatar of Vishnu that is associated to Mangal or Bhauma or Mars. Now, I told you the Mangal beej, the seed beej of this nakshatra is Om Aim, Om Aim. And the beach of Mars is Om Krang Krim Krom Sa Mangalaya Namaha. Okay. Now you can also sing Vedic hymns to him if that appeals to you more. The धरणी गर्भ संभूतं विद्युत पुंज समप्रभं कुमारं शक्ति हस्तांच लोहितं नमाम्यहं. This is his Vedic mantra. Okay, and his Gayatri is Veera Dhwajaya Vidmahe Vigna Hastaya Dhimahi Tanno Bhauma Prachodayat. Okay, so anything that I'm thinking of the Narasimha mantra, but it's really long, and if I start right now, I'm gonna complicate things. So let's keep it down to Mangal mantras for now. If you're interested in Narasimha mantra and Kriya, email me or Kavach. Now the form of Ganapati associated to this nakshatra is Shipra Ganapati. Okay, Kshipra, Shipra Ganapati, the 10th emanation of the 32 Ganapatis. Okay, now Shipra Ganapati responds very quickly to the call of the deity. Okay, and Shipra denotes quickness and immediacy. Immediately you need help. Okay, now Mrigashira natives need ample space in relationships. So if you're married to somebody who has their moon or their rising or even their Venus in Mrigashira, give them space. Give them space, because otherwise they tend to be, the relationship can become very toxic, because they tend to like their independence. They like their independence, and even the way they think can be pretty complicating for somebody else. And they're like, what the hell, why are they thinking like that? Like I said, the Leo Navamsa is very fixed. They're very stubborn. My way or the highway. You can go to hell if you if you have other ideas. It's my way or the highway. The Virgo Navamsa is discerning, but it can become hypercritical. So critical that their spouse feels like, oh my God, it's literally war of the words. It's Mercury is the ruler here. Mercury is exalted here, and Venus is in fall here. So love, connection. With Virgo, the thing is that since Venus is in fall in that sign, the connection component always suffers. Virgos want to connect, and also Mrigashira natives of the Virgo Navamsa want to connect. But sometimes their discerning abilities can get hypercritical. They can be hypercritical. Oh, this is how it is. Don't keep this here. This is where the laundry goes. This is where so they're always nitpicking. Okay. The Libra Navamsa people don't like anything ugly. They oftentimes avoid serious deep talks as well, because here they're always, as it is, very restless energy. So here they are feeling extremely restless. They move from one energy, one experience to the other, one person to the other. So grounding. The Scorpio Navamsa people can be very quick to anger, quick to revenge, quick with revenge. But remember, the motivation is moksha. So if you are holding on to these lower vibrations, this nakshatra significations are also punishment and imprisonment. So that what goes around comes around, goes around, comes around, literally. Okay. Now, very interesting is Devi Parvati, the Shakti of Shiva, has a moon. Okay, not ascendant. I said ascendant previously in this video. And also with Rabindranath Tagore, I'm not quite sure if it's his ascendant or his moon that's in Mrigashira. So Devi Parvati has a moon in the Taurus part of Mrigashira, okay? And that is why she can assume total different attributes in all her incarnations. Mrigashira is, many eclectic. The energy is eclectic. Pick and choose, move on, pick and choose, right? So, I don't know, I just got a weird message from SMS. Made no sense, but. So, that was a bit about the Nakshatra Mrigashira. It's already 34 minutes, and I want to keep these videos short and tight, 30 minutes. So if you know somebody who has their placement in Mrigashira, which spans from 2320 of sidereal Taurus to 640 of sidereal Gemini, then please make them watch this video. And if you yourself have your nakshatra, have your moon here, or your ascendant or your Venus, then remember that during everyday spiritual practices, if you just take the name of your nakshatra devata, then it really helps. So Soma and Mars. Soma is the moon. So lunar energy, the activation of lunar energy, the amalgamation of Mars and the moon. Oh wow, that was a piece of thunder. And I'm so glad I got this done before the storm hit. There's going to be a storm here, I can feel it. And thank you for being there. And like, comment, subscribe, share, and let me know what you think. Thank you.